Hi gang, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Friday, and today means anything goes. And I have a band today that some might classify as rock, but I find they're a lot like the singer-songwriters we've talked about over previous episodes on Fridays, where they really have a style of their own. They really don't fit into that category of rock, folk, blues, but what they do is so uniquely theirs that we're going to feature it today because it's really hard to classify as something else. And the band we're looking at is another band out of the Greater Toronto area, the Barenaked Ladies. Now, you may have noticed over the years, we've had a number of connections to Toronto in music, in the concerts they've had, the people that have come and gone from there, and probably somewhere down the line we'll just take an episode and look at the importance of Toronto in not only music, but in television, movies, entertainment, and how it is kind of like the center of entertainment for Canada. But anyways, today we're looking at the Barenaked Ladies. Now, their first major release, they had an independent release, was an album called Gordon. Try and get that so you don't get the glare. Album called Gordon. And it came out, I'm going to say, I'll have to look it up here. I think it's in the early 90s. Okay, 1992. And this was when they really first had a record deal. They had an independent they put out ahead of that. And to tell you the truth, this album, to me, is almost like a greatest hits album. Everything on it is just excellent. I'll come back to that in just a second. We'll talk about that album in a minute. They've had a few other albums after. Their real breakout album, or that they felt was their breakout album, was a song or an album called Stunt. And this came out a few years later. I believe this one was about 96, 98. And a couple of hits off here. 1 Week, It's All Been Done. And a lot of other songs that really didn't make it as hits so much. They followed this up with another one called Maroon, which really did really well. And I'll just show you that album. We kind of get it in there. And again, it was one that spawned a couple of really big hits. Pinch Me and Too Little Too Late. But probably the biggest hit for the Barenaked Ladies was their exposure all across North America and the world with a theme song. And we'll come back to that in just a second. Let's go back to that first album I talked about, was Gordon, which I said was really, to me, like a greatest hits album. Now, these three albums I showed you, these were all during the Stephen Page days. And to me, those are the days I remember the band. I mean, they're still performing now. Stephen Page is no longer with them. Still doing excellent music and a style that's all their own. But these were, I find, fun because not only was Stephen Page a lead vocalist, but did a lot of writing with the band as well. So on Gordon, just a couple of tunes here that I felt really stood out. Brian Wilson, What a Good Boy, Box Set, and two of their big hits. One that before they got the record deal, one called Be My Yoko Ono, which if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a hilarious song. It was one they had on their first independent release, and it was probably the first song that I really knew the band from. And their biggest hit off this album, or probably was included on this album, was If I Had $1 Million. And probably everybody has heard that tune. Certainly it was one of their main stays, certainly one of the biggest hits they've had, up until television came along. Now, probably if you haven't listened to any of these albums, you've still heard the Barenaked Ladies. For, I'm going to say, was it 8 or 9 years, Megan? For the TV show. 10 years, she says. We're going to go with that. 10 years, they were featured every week on the CBS TV show Big Bang Theory. Yes, it's the Barenaked Ladies singing that theme song to the TV show. Probably their biggest gig and their biggest exposure they ever got. And a lot of people, after listening to that, enjoyed what they heard and went back and discovered some of the music. If you haven't listened to some of the albums, again, there's a way to really experience their sound. That theme for Big Bang was was the Barenaked Ladies sound. And if you enjoyed that, go back and take a look at a few of the albums. And my recommendation for the first one to check out would be Gordon, a solid album from top to bottom. Okay, that's it for Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday when we're back with jazz. Take care. Hi guys, back again just with a little fact checking. Apparently Big Bang Theory ran for 12 seasons. So 12 seasons of the Barenaked Ladies' original composition and performance featured every week on CBS. That's it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.